You reach into your pocket and pull out a piece of paper. It has a number printed on it. And right now, you believe, without question, that this paper is worth something. You would trade your time for it. You would trade your labor for it. You might even risk your life for it. But here is the strange part. That paper is worth nothing. It always was. What ancient humans thought money was is one of the most unsettling stories in all of human history, because it turns out they were not confused about money. They understood something about it that you have completely forgotten. Go back far enough, past the printing press, past the Roman Empire, past the first coins, and you arrive at a world with no money at all. Not because people were primitive, not because they had not figured it out yet, but because they did not need it. For most of human prehistory, your ancestors lived in small bands of between 20 and 150 people. The anthropologist Robin Dunbar spent years studying these group sizes across cultures and primates, and what he found was striking. The human brain seems optimized for tracking relationships with roughly 150 individuals, and in a group that small, you do not need money. You need something older. You need trust. Anthropologists call it the gift economy. You hunt a deer and you share the meat, not because someone will pay you, not because you are calculating a return on investment, but because you exist inside a web of mutual obligation that keeps everyone alive. You give, and the group remembers. The group gives back, and you remember. There is no transaction. There is only relationship. This is what money replaced. The first true money appeared around 5,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq. But it did not look like what you carry today. It was not coins. It was not printed notes. It was clay tablets. Specifically, it was records of debt. A farmer owed a temple a certain amount of grain. A merchant owed a palace a certain number of goats. The clay tablet was not the value itself. The clay tablet was a memory. It was a way of recording what one person owed another in a world that had grown too large for everyone to know everyone else. The economic historian David Graeber spent 2 decades reconstructing this history, and his conclusion was radical. Money did not emerge from barter. The textbook story that people once traded arrowheads for meat, then someone got clever and invented coins, is almost entirely fiction. There is no archaeological or anthropological evidence that any society ever operated on pure barter. What came before money was not barter. What came before money was obligation. It was debt. And money was simply a way of keeping score. Your ancient ancestors did not think money was valuable. They thought the relationships it represented were valuable. Now jump forward. Ancient Mesopotamia gives way to ancient Lydia, in what is now western Turkey. Around 600 BCE, the Lydians minted the first official metal coins, electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver. The king stamped his face on them, and this changed something fundamental. Because a coin stamped with a king's face is not just a record of debt, it is a promise. It is the king saying, I guarantee this is worth something. You can trust this, not because you know the king personally, not because you are in a tribe with him, but because the state, a new abstract concept, backs it. This is the moment money became truly strange, because for the first time, your ancestors were being asked to trust something they could not see, touch, or verify for themselves. They were being asked to believe in an institution. And they did, because they had no choice. The Roman philosopher Lucius Annaeus Seneca wrote in the 1st century that money was not real, that it was a social agreement, nothing more. He was mocked for it. But he was right. The Roman denarius held value not because silver is inherently precious. It held value because millions of people simultaneously agreed to behave as if it did. The moment they stopped agreeing, as Rome collapsed, the coins became useless metal. This is the part that should disturb you, because it means that money, at every point in human history, has always been a collective hallucination, a shared story, a myth that only works as long as enough people believe it. Now think about the money in your bank account. There are no coins. There is no paper. There are only numbers on a screen maintained by servers in buildings you have never visited, operated by institutions you have never met, backed by a government making promises about the future. The evolutionary psychologist Daniel Crosby has studied how the human brain responds to financial loss, and what he found is that losing money activates the same neural circuits as a physical threat. Your amygdala fires, your stress hormones spike. You feel it the way your ancestors felt a predator in the grass. Your brain does not know that the numbers on the screen are not real. Your brain treats them as if they were food, as if they were safety, as if they were the deer your ancestor hunted and shared around a fire 50,000 years ago. And here's the counterintuitive twist. The ancient humans who lived before money, the ones in those small bands of 150 people, were not poorer than you in the ways that matter most. Studies of contemporary hunter-gatherer societies, including the Kungsan of the Kalahari Desert, documented by anthropologist Richard Lee in the 1960s, showed that they worked an average of 15 hours per week to meet their basic needs. The rest was rest, storytelling, connection, play. They were not struggling. They were, by most measures, extraordinarily rich in time, rich in relationship, rich in the one currency that the clay tablets and the gold coins and the digital numbers have never been able to replicate. What ancient humans thought money was, when they finally encountered it, was a tool, a useful fiction, a way of extending trust beyond the people you personally knew. They were not wrong about that. But somewhere between the clay tablets of Mesopotamia and the numbers blinking on your phone screen, the tool became the point. The abstraction became the goal. The map became the territory. You spend your entire life pursuing something your ancestors invented 5,000 years ago to solve a very specific problem. How do you cooperate with strangers? And you have solved it so completely, so thoroughly, that you now live inside an economy of 8 billion strangers, trusting pieces of paper, digital entries, and institutional promises you cannot verify, while the web of real relationships, the gift economy, the mutual obligation that kept human beings alive for 95,000 years, quietly thins. The next time you reach into your pocket and pull out that piece of paper, remember what it actually is. It is not wealth. It is a memory, a record of what someone owes someone else, stretched across time and civilization, all the way back to a clay tablet in ancient Mesopotamia, all the way back to a group of people who shared a deer because they trusted each other. And that trust, not the paper, was always the point.